Hey coaches, in this video we're going to talk about interviewing as a coach. Now, what I talk about here can in many ways be brought over to the entrepreneurial market of coaching as you have conversations in selling your coaching services. But specifically with the corporate sponsored coach training program, we want to talk about how to be your coach, to embrace the competencies of a coach and demonstrate those very well in an interview process. And that interview process might be with some of the large name organizations out there that hire coaches as employees or contractors. Or we might be looking at some sort of partnership arrangement where you're working with a small team of coaches. And you have many of these where each coach serves as a coach, but they also serve a specific function on the team. One's the CEO, one's the chief marketing officer, one's the chief financial officer, and so on. So you have these what we call boutique organizations, and you have the large scale organizations. And with each, you want to be able to do certain things to interview well, to connect well with them. Now, there's a whole other set of videos we could probably have on networking and doing the LinkedIn stuff really well, but this isn't about the job search. It's more as you've been acknowledged as a potential candidate for one of these organizations, how do you maintain your self-control, your focus, and present yourself? Make the best business case for you to be a part of that organization. In my opinion, the best way to make the business case is by showing, telling, proving your ability to coach. In an organization, you'll have a variety of ways that you would be considered and vetted for your ability to coach in that company, whether big or small. You do need to expect some form of an interview. Someone's going to need to talk to you, have an experience speaking with you. And they would look for all the normal stuff you would see in any kind of interview. But that interview might also be accompanied with some sort of live coaching assessment. So that's the first thing. You need to show your ability to coach. At any time during the interviewing process, you will probably be informed that you would be expected to show coaching, whether in a group setting, one-on-one with a panel of people watching you, maybe one-on-one and the individual who is being coached by you is the client, or it might be a triad where you are being coached, or you're coaching the individual, and there's a third person who's watching you during that engagement. And this is where it's so important to be able to coach even when you're nervous. Even though a panel's there, even though an extra person's there, even though the person you're coaching might be interviewing you or assessing you, you have to be ready for that. Because your ability to coach in that state proves that you would be able to coach when you're being stretched with the individual clients you might serve with that company. You also need to tell coaching, though. You need to be able to have that interview and be ready for open questions. Why should this company bring you on as a contractor or employee or as a partner? What's the compelling story that you're going to tell through that interview process? Do you line up with who they are as a company, or are you just there for some hours, a job, a faster path to your own credentialing and running your own business? What compelling story are you telling, and how does that align with the expectations and values of the organization you're interested in serving? You also need to be able to answer challenging questions. And this is proving your ability to coach, proving your coaching mindset. The Coach Knowledge Assessment is a great tool because it challenges you with scenario-based questions to look at what would a great coach do in this given scenario. So you need to be willing and ready to answer those questions, and you need to be willing and ready to share your qualifications. What is your certification? What is your credentialing? What is your experience with coaching? And just to put this out there, based on my experience being involved with an organization or two with onboarding and vetting coaches, it is so important for you not to lie. Don't lie about your credential. Be very clear. Partner with an organization who knows you. I don't believe ever lying about your credential is ever good. However, there is a bit of confusion out there. To be clear, the fact that you've gained enough hours and experience and even mentor coaching to have earned the ACC does not mean that you have the Associate Certified Coach credential from the International Coach Federation. That means that you have that level of training. And similar for the PCC, Professional Certified Coach. You might have gone through an entire ACTP program. You've gone through so many hours, let's say 200 hours of coach training, which is enough for MCC. And you've had 20 hours of mentor coach, and you've been assessed so many times, but you've not actually applied to the ICF. Don't say that you have a PCC, because that can be validated, and you don't want to cause that. You don't want to do that. Don't lie. Be clear about where you stand with your ICF or other organizations' credentials and what sort of certificates you have. And I do make that distinction. Certificates are from training organizations. Credentials are from credentialing organizations that take into account having gone through a training, having been assessed, and they have their own assessing process, much like the International Coach Federation. So be ready to show your coaching. Be ready to speak coaching, and be ready to demonstrate to prove your coaching mindset through assessment and sharing of your qualifications. The organization needs to know that you are able to provide a consistent approach with your own unique style to serve the organization's clients and the sponsors of those clients. They have to trust you. And we talked about this in the very first video with corporate sponsored coaching. The ability for a large or small partnering coach organization to trust you and to say this coach is able to do the same thing this other coach can do. They have their own unique styles, but they are both coaching. It is so critical for their success, for the sponsor's success, for the client's success, and your success. So be ready to demonstrate your ability to coach according to the consistent standards of the International Coach Federation's core competencies. And in our entire experience working together, we know that there's a lot of flexibility in your following those competencies, but there's still a standard that we work towards. Keep growing, keep challenging yourself, and I would encourage you to interview, to connect with other coaches and coach organizations, and to learn from that process. You'll serve more, you'll be able to make a bigger impact, and thank you for the impact you are making already as you are looking into coaching, getting trained as a coach, and serving your clients.